Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome tonight to PSGL F10. And tonight we are back with more action, and I'll tell you what, the end of the season is coming, and it's coming really quickly here. Only 4 rounds left to go. USA, Mexico, Abu Dhabi, and then finally we head to Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix. But tonight we're at Kota here for the United States Grand Prix. And a lovely qualifying day where the tyres will probably roast. Let's be real here. And I'm quite interested to see how tonight goes. Right now we've got 2 main contenders for the championship. I really am starting to doubt now anyone else can crack into the top 2 now, which is F1R, Dende and Hersey, who are separated by 1 point. Dende being the leader on 92 and Hersey on 91. Third place James Dovey is all the way back with 49 points, but he has been relatively on his own for a little while in that 3rd place. But I mean, we've got a cracker tonight, really. 2 championship rivals going at it, I guess Hamilton and Rosberg style, if you want to think how old this community is. But thinking a little bit more classical, I suppose, is probably like a Hakkinen Schumacher-esque sort of thing. Perhaps Alonso Schumacher in 2006 was also another one that was relatively quite close. And of course, let's not forget 2010 and 2012. And of course, the famous Sao Paulo Grand Prix, or Brazilian Grand Prix of 2008, which saw one of the last ditch efforts really of Lewis Hamilton's title winning season, even though Felipe Massa did pretty much everything he could to win that evening. Anyway, then we're going to get straight to the action. This isn't real life, this is virtual, and this is F1 2020, and this is again PSGL F10 as well, so different drivers, different names. And talk about different names, a different driver altogether. I've not seen Steber 55, or not to my knowledge anyway. There was one that I did get wrong last week, where he actually just was a driver change, name change. So hopefully I've not got that wrong again. Steber 55 then, how is he going to do in his opening lap here in this division? On the soft tyres, surprisingly, suggesting to me that potentially we're looking for rain at the start of the race, since it's not exactly the most favourable tyre. However, I have been wrong in the past. I'm no expert at this sort of stuff, believe me or not. But he's already invalidated, so it's a little bit of a rusty start for the Renault driver, but I think it's alright. You're going to have a few, perhaps, nerves. But anyway, we're going to go on board with Rodriguez. He's just started this lap. He's now going through turn 2 and turn 3. And turn 4, of course, this very snake sort of section here. S section's very tricky through here. You have to try and go a bit quicker through here. Use all the space available. Hit all the apexes. Go quite wide here if you need. Then hit the apex on the inside, and then the inside again. Get a good exit. Be careful not to spin the rear tyres as well. Now coming up to the hairpin at turn 11, which will be going on to the longest straight on the circuit. And that's the long run down to turn 12. This is probably one of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit. Very long run down, of course. Go past the Ferris wheel on your left hand side. Quite a nice attraction to this track. Break at the 100-meter board roughly into this corner. Hit the apex. He's missed it, but that's alright for Rika coming through. Now this tricky section. Be careful of the rear tyres as well. This is a track that is very devilish in terms of the tyre temperatures, and at this point they could get up to insanely hot heats, which could definitely lose the rear. Now coming through turn 16, turn 17, turn 18, where we saw obviously Max Verstappen get past Kimi Raikkonen desperately on the final lap to possibly take a podium, but it was stripped away from him as he was given a 5-second penalty, I believe. Rika now coming through the final corner of this 20 corner circuit track to a set of 1:31.3. Decent lap from Rika, but it's not going to set the world alight, because Hersey has set the world alight. He's got a 1:30.060, and he is 2 tenths clear of his nearest rival, James Dovey. Now looking at track formula, a driver who has been looking quite quick this season, but has been quite unfortunate performances. And I guess last weekend in Singapore, he was incredible and described by podium sitter Dende as incredible pace-wise, and he was doing very good last weekend. However, a VSC destroyed his race and Hersey went on to win. Track Formula goes 3rd place, continues his impressive qualifying streak. Just needs to get that race win, which he desperately would love to have coming to the end of the season. And I'll tell you what, if he shows the pace he shoe in Singapore, I'm definitely not ruling it out here tonight. As we see Warren Haug then coming on the long straight after turn 11, goes towards the inside, perhaps to just get slipstream there. Not really allowed, PSGL has that banned, but I'm pretty sure it's possibly not intentional for the other guys, but that'll be interesting to pick up if that was the case. But he's coming through sector 2 now anyway, sorry, sector 3 now anyway. Sector 3 is relatively quite long, and it's relatively quite difficult as well, but pretty decent. A little bit of a slide, I think, out the exit of that corner, which may have lost him a bit of time. And if you do look on the bottom there, I haven't got the best dice, but if you look at his tyre temperatures, they're all in the main hundreds, and I'm wondering if the setup does not treat his tyres perfectly around this track. Now let's look for someone who will be hopefully starting a lap soon. As Dino, we've got Steber, who is going to be next, and Steber did actually do one lap, but the problem with it was simply he invalidated. So let's hope he doesn't invalidate here. That's another thing to watch out for tonight, is that it is quite easy to invalidate around this track. And let's see what Steber can do on his debut. He comes through turn 3 now. Sorry, turn 2 to turn 3 now. Now turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. It's literally like a roller coaster here. Left, right, left, right. Usually it's up and down when you think of a roller coaster, and he's invalidated. So that's brilliant. Steber will be coming back to the pits again, and to what I assume being a Carlos Sainz fan as well, you know, you'd expect him to perform well tonight, knowing that Carlos Sainz is a fairly decent driver in real life. Is there any drivers literally on a lap right now? I do not believe so. Dino's still on an out lap. He's coming across the final corner, but it seemed like a lap going on forever for him. Yigamao apparently has just started a lap. He's further up the road. So let's just go with Yigamao for now. Let's see how he does. Rather very, what's the word? He seems to be very slow on these corners. I wonder if he's just conserving a little bit. He definitely is. He's definitely not attacking the corners. Dino perhaps is someone different who is attacking the corners. Got a little bit of traffic to navigate through here, which can be quite awkward for a driver coming through this S section. Hasn't become a problem, and he has got out of that unscathed. Rika goes to the inside to make sure he doesn't get in the way of his lap, and let's see what Dino can do as he goes through turn 11 now. Doesn't hit the apex, probably uses a good bit of the track, but DRS open now. He has a Williams ahead of him. I'm not sure if he's on a lap. It wouldn't be. It'd be Dende ahead, but he's on an out lap. Be intrigued to see what the championship leader can do. He goes to the inside, or well, the outside in this case, now to get out of the way. But Dino on his lap through sector 3 now we go. His left tyres are absolutely gasping for air as they heat up to immense temperatures of over 100 degrees. Now coming through this long right-hander, very similar to the Turkey, the one we have in Turkey in real life as well. In the USA it's no different, but it's a long right-hander coming across the line, and Dino sets a 131.7. He'll be quite happy with that for now. Anyway, now starting this lap, it's Dende. We need to have a look at this man. He's the championship leader. Introduced to any of you who are new to the streams, and let's see what the Williams driver can do. Awkwardly has Dino on his left hand side. Not going to be any trouble for the Williams driver, but coming through now this really tough S section. Be careful not to invalidate. Really pushing the car to its limits here. Coming through these corners, a pretty decent lap so far from the Williams driver. Really revving out the gears as well. This is something we haven't seen so far, but he's looking very good through the first sector. I really enjoyed that. Looked very nice and quick. Now through sector 2, we go through turn 11 then. On to the long straight. This is where you're not going to make up too much time, of course, because obviously every car is equal, so the engine power really depends on what temperature your engine is at. But at the moment, Dende is on a really good lap at the moment, braking later into this corner, hitting the apex. Lovely done from the Williams driver through sector 3 now. He's up on his time, but only narrowly. This is quite surprising. This looks like a really good lap. Anyway, now coming through sector 3, perhaps he made a mistake through there. looking very nice and clean and tidy through there as well. Now for the long right-hander, let's see what he can do through here. Keeps it to the inside, nice and easy, braking towards where the black box, which is yellow flag at the moment, but he does come into the pits, bizarrely, although it did look like a decent lap. His teammate Dino is 1.64 tenths up, one tenth up, almost 2 tenths up, probably would have been a better way to put it, actually. And at the moment, he's now just coming through the straight. Nothing too serious for him so far on his lap. But at the moment, both Williams drivers will be happy where they're at, 6th and 7th. However, I'm pretty sure Davey would like to close the gap to his teammate, and so far he's doing that so in terms of the lap time that he is on. And let's see how he can finish this lap. Yellow flag through there, that's just a slow racing point. Which will be known as Aston Martin the next game. I cannot wait. That is going to be a dogfight for that car, let's be real. Everyone's going to be like, I want the Aston Martin. It's always typical on the F1 games as Davey comes across the line and he dethrones his teammate, and a bunch of others have also done the same as Davey moves up to 5th place now. Jack Tyler is someone we haven't mentioned too much. He must have recently gone up position. He's gone into the lead of qualifying now with 6 minutes to go, so very positive indeed for the AlphaTauri driver. But I was just saying, and there's the other racing point, but I'm just saying next year if you want that Aston Martin, there's going to be a war for it, pretty much. I'm pretty sure everyone would want to be representing that team. It's the same with other sort of things as well. I can't remember the real craze this year. What car would be the real craze? It must have been the AlphaTauri, which was one of them. And I think, actually, surprisingly, I think the Renault was in high demand, or Renault engine-powered cars, because of how nicely the engines sound. But I have to give the AlphaTauri credit. It's a really nice-looking car. And, of course, the Mercedes, that was obviously another car that was, well, not in doubt, really, another car that everyone wanted to be in, because of, obviously, it's a black Mercedes, which is not usual considering it's just a normal silver arrows. But anyway, Warren Howe into the pits, doesn't set another lap, he'll be have to wait again. What about James Dovey? He's just started this lap. That is fine, we're going to stick on board with him. I don't think anyone's further ahead, perhaps Poggle. Where is Poggle on track is the question. I can't see him on the track. He must have done something. But anyway, I'm going to stick a ball with James Dovey because he looks probably the more likely to actually be setting a proper lap here. He's going pretty strong at the moment. Oh, the game kicked you. Well, that could be a problem. I mean, I know everyone's in the pits right now, so I'm going to use this opportunity to invite you. Simply because of that. That is really annoying. That happens. I'm hoping now I have got your name, because knowing me, I don't, and I do not again. So I just need to quickly check that. Okay, I got it now. I've got it now. Don't worry. Right. Right, hopefully it will show up nice and quickly. PlayStation isn't my friend, usually. Okay, I think I've got you. So the invite should be sent now for you. So there you have it. Anyway, now going back to the action, and now interestingly looking at F1R Dende, he's looking quite strong. Going through sector 2. I don't think this looks as quick as his first time that he had beforehand though, that we looked. But I wonder if he is just slowing down in this third sector, not worrying too much. He's staying out, he's doing the lap. This will probably be his final run if he's not careful, and oh, he spun the car on the exit of the corner, and that's not going to help him at all. He's lost a lot of momentum and time there out of that, and unfortunately it's 9th place for Dende right now. Now it's really just a rush to get back to the pits, and whether he'll get back in time is a huge question. Lewis 05 then is on a lap for McLaren, and he is looking to potentially go for pole position again, which Hersey now has returned the favour and retaken that pole position for now. I'm not sure if we're on midday here, because it was instructed to go on to midday, but by the looks of the sun and everything and where it's at, it doesn't look like that is the case. So it could be a little bit of a difficult run down to these corners. Very light. But anyway, Lewis 05 then looking quite strong going into sector 3 we go. And all very tricky at the rear. And I did say about that, how difficult that rear end is through there. Very tricky, and he's backed out of the lap. I don't know if he'll go again, because tyres are they're not your friends really in terms of the heat of them, and doing an extra lap will not be helpful. Jendrick at the moment down in 18th place. He would like to improve that. He is improving the time, but as you can see, very cautious on the rear tyres, possibly running a lower downforce setup, which is surprising at this track. And the rear stability probably isn't as high here at the moment, but Jendrick now coming through the final 2 corners, being very aggressive with the steering as well, and into the final corner we go. Let's see what Jendrick can do, sliding out of the corner like it's a rally car as he comes across the line, and does improve, but he doesn't improve position. Yigamau at the moment the only driver not to set a time, and well, at the moment he's got to go again, because he hasn't set a time here, and he will have to set a time again. Now let's go on board with one of the contenders potentially for pole position. It's Jack Tyler in second place. He is a 10th of Hersey. He needs to make up a lot of time to look about getting that pole position. Only 2 drivers here in the 1 minute 29s here at the moment, and I do suspect we will get 1 or 2 more. And like I said, people like Dende have been looking quite impressive, but he will not have another run to go and use, which is a big shame for him and his championship hopes. He will be hoping for something good. Always Yigamau, I think, has just put Jack Tyler off a bit there. I'll just look back at the stream. Oh yes, he's had a big slide out the exit of the corner. I think that just might be his lap over in terms of improvement, but I could definitely be wrong. 2 more corners to go, 1 more corner, he's going to go for it. It does show that potentially he still is up on his delta. What's it going to be for Jack Tyler? Is he up? Yes, he is. Takes pole position right now. Hersey's coming through the first sector. Who is further up the road? Davey definitely isn't, but people now coming towards the end of the lap. Let's just stick with Alpha F1 at the moment, down in 30th place for now. And I'm sure he'll be looking to improve his time. Yeah, what a shame for Dende, down in 9th place at the moment, and it was not probably what he wanted. He was 5 tenths up in the last corner. Oh my goodness. Well, you're hoping for a medium strategy now, and that is all down to what these guys do. What is Alpha going to do though? Is he up or down? I do not know. It looks like an alright built lap, to be honest. As he comes through the final corner and looking to take it up a notch as he goes 14th place, doesn't improve on his lap time. It looked like an alright lap, but just wasn't the case. Where is Hersey on the lap? He's coming towards the end, and he's the spinner. So no pole position for the Haas today. So I guess that is 1 plus you're thinking about there, I suppose, for Dende. Anyway, now we have James Dovey on a lap. He is going towards the finish of his lap, and it looks like the wish may not be guaranteed at the moment for Dende. Not a very few amount of guys left to finish their laps. I believe Yigamau is now coming across the line as he's finished, and he hasn't got a proper lap time in, unfortunately. James Dovey goes up to 4th position. How many times have I said that? It's not going to stick though, as Track Formula takes that 4th position. Alternatively, Rika goes up to 13th, and unfortunately it will not be the reverse strat for Dende. He has now got to start the race at 9th and progress up that way, which is probably not what he would have wanted, as suggested in the chat. But at the end of the day, Jack Tyler has pole position. I think that's his first pole position of the season, so he'll be very happy with that one. And Hersey in 2nd, and Davey W up in 3rd place, which I'm interested to see. He's had a bit of a consistent season, but recently hasn't really been challenging for podiums, but Is today the day that he can regain that podium spirit and be on the podium positions? It was the last time in France, which actually weren't even here. But yeah, everyone now completed with their laps. Jack Tyler on pole position, Hersey on the front row. No real new things there, but this is a track that's rather interesting, because this track it's a very tricky one to master in the race, and in the race for the soft tyres, it's perhaps not even the best strategy. If the medium tyre driver, say Vonis for example, gets a good start and everything, the reverse strategy can work an absolute treat for him if he gets a good start or certain things happen. But we'll have to wait and see, as I'm being asked to give another invite, which is fair enough, to Aero Specialist just in case. Such a shame we don't have like the servers in the F1 games for that. I'm sure they're coming though. I think they are coming quite soon. And again, I've already said my point last week about the whole EA buying Codemasters, etc. Although, yes, it's fine for me to have my concerns and everyone to have their concerns, but I'm remaining optimistic about it, to be honest. And the reason being I'm remaining optimistic is quite simple, because I do believe there is a chance we will receive probably one of the better games. There's much more of funding. The team is likely to stay the same as well. And with that, I reckon there'll be more exploration into both online and offline. But anyway, enough about that for now. Let's get on towards the race, which will be getting underway very soon. Jack Tyler on pole position in the first time the British driver is on pole position, but Hersey in second place, narrowly missing out. But of course, he spun on the second to last corner in his Haas. Whether that was just taken because he'd bottled his lap or not beforehand, who knows. Davey W in third place, quite a distance back from Hersey as well. Trap Formula in fourth, James Dovey in fifth place, breaking that fourth place streak, which I swear is like every week he starts fourth, so that's like the first time I've ever seen that. Anyway, Steber on his debut in sixth place, Lewis in seventh, Aero Specialist in eighth, Dende down in ninth. Will be interested to see how he fights his way back through the field, and Black Phoenix in P10. Vone is starting from P11, and one of these tracks which probably is one of those tracks which you want to say 11th place is probably one of the better places to start on the grid. I don't know if there is a lobby glitch or not, because it's taken a while to really get the sort of beeps that tell you that it's moving on. But yeah, Yigamal, the only driver not to get a lap time in, which is concerning for Yigamal's sake, because obviously penalties at this track ain't exactly hard to get, because they are relatively quite easy. Hello to McCrew in the chat. Hope you're enjoying. Well, I say enjoy the action, but we are waiting for any action, because I think the game has decided to say no, we're not progressing further with this. We are progressing further with this now. It's now decided to fix itself. But hopefully we're in for a really entertaining race tonight, guys, because this is going to be quite an interesting one. Second place in the championship, starting from second place, and the championship leader starting all the way down in ninth. And this is one of those tracks as well, I say this again, this is one of those tracks as well which does usually offer the reverse strategy, meaning that drivers such as Vonis, Poggle and Rika could be in for a really good shot tonight at some big result. It looks like Brady Pollock is going for Lewis for the win, the Australian driver who really put on a show, getting pole position I believe by 4/10 at Russia, so showing he's got the good pace there, but needs to get that race win under his belt, and I think there is a chance he could. Lobby is dead. I think the lobby is okay. I don't know. It's a little bit inconsistent at the moment. 1 minute it seems fine, next minute it's dead, and yep, it's working again. I I would talk about you, Alpha, but the problem is that every single time you've raced, you've gotten a DNF. You've got no points at the moment. So, although, yes, there is a possibility, you know, you could score your first points, but in terms of the main players, it's unsurprising that I do not talk about certain people who don't have points at the moment. And that's no disrespect. Don't take that as any disrespect whatsoever. But it is a big day for all of you guys. It's a big opportunity for all of you guys to score points. It's a big opportunity for everyone to gain some, perhaps, lift in the championship. And particularly, it's a day, really, for certain battles to really commence. Chat Formula versus James Tovey is going to be an interesting one. The battle for third in the championship. The battle for bronze, as you may put it. And, well, you know... I don't mean to be harsh to Alpha. I respect Alpha and all. But, you know, if the driver isn't scoring points, it's the same as Ragunathan. They didn't talk about Ragunathan a lot on camera, and this isn't a comparison, again. But, you know, with the drivers who are towards the back of the field, Nikita Mazepin for next season will be a good example. They will not get talked about, unfortunately. But for him, that's a completely possible different reason. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see for Alpha. He's down in 16th. I'm sure will be encouraged to perhaps take the reverse strategy. And wow, a rather interesting mix outside the top 10. Usually when you're outside the top 10, it's mediums or bust. And well, we've got a hard tyre runner and we've got 3 soft tyre runners. So I'm intrigued to see how that all goes for all of them. And that's a good flair, to be honest. We've got a bit of strategy differences and perhaps a few risks. We've got 1 dislike. Was that Alpha disliking, by the way? I don't know why. That's quite sad now. We've only got 1 like and 1 dislike. Well, now we've got 3 likes and 1 dislike. So everyone now showing their support, which I do enjoy. But anyway, Jack Tyler on pole position. He has been a driver that has really had the season, I don't know, he's really had that sort of, I'm trying to think of the word, he's really had that season where he's had a false dawn, sort of thing. And I think what I mean by this is, at the start of the season, he was on for a win in he was on for a win in Brazil in the pre-season race. It didn't happen for him because I believe of incidents. Yes, incidents. Let's go. Then in Australia, I think there was also another sort of incident or something to do with the weather that perhaps affected him. And I believe in Britain he was on for something, but yeah, again, we don't talk about that. But ever since then, he's not exactly had the best run of form, being consistently in the points, but not really scoring too much more than just points, no podiums, no wins. But at the moment, he's on pole position, and theoretically, he's in the best position. But he's got a raging Estonian looking to take back his championship lead. And you know what? He would rather grab 16 points, 4 extra points, or even 5 extra points, including the fastest lap, than sticking into second place. So this is going to be interesting. A rather wide corner into turn 1. A lot of opportunity for overtaking if you can make it done, as all the drivers do now line up on the grid, just waiting for the game to fix itself. In fact, there is one driver still getting on the grid in a Mercedes. That would be Puggle. But yep, as we are just waiting for the lights now, and already the telemetry thing is broken nice and early, but we've got 5 lights. It's a long hold, but we are underway, and it looks like the Estonian driver of Hersey's got a really good start away. Same with Davey W. Poor start from Jack Tyler. Anyone going to send up the inside? We've got a McLaren sandwich there in the background. There's already someone who's left the session. No one retired, but a big cluster of cars at the back there. Not sure who's involved at the moment, but out of the first corner. Hersey takes the lead then from Jack Tyler, from Davey W and Trap Formula. Jendrick at the front hasn't really helped because he's now apparently first, but he's not. And there we go, it's finally fixed itself for now, but Jack Tyler losing the position on the opening lap. Not what he would have wanted to do, and definitely not to this man, who will take the championship lead as it stands at the moment. Only lap 1 though, a long time to go. There's a I think there is a Mercedes there, either in the wall or spun or had a half spin or something, but he has gone all the way to the back of the grid. That would be Rika on the hard tyres. Not what he would have wanted really, but he was going to fall back on the hard tyres, I do reckon. Jägermel's made up a good few positions. Both Mercedes have had a bit of a mare of a start though to proceedings. Good start from Vonis though, up to 9th place. An amazing start, ironically, for Alpha F1, up to 10th place then for the Ferrari driver, and perhaps he is going to start proving us wrong a little bit at the moment, because a brilliant start for him. He's been able to make the positions, and well, who knows, Alpha F1 looking for his first points of the season. And you know, we know what it is about USA. It's got a certain reverse strategy OP sort of likeness to it, so perhaps the reverse strategy could see Alpha get a win today, potentially, even though obviously it's probably unlikely, since these drivers do all know what they're doing. They do know how to drive a car properly. Rika is in the pits though. Hersey though in the lead of this race, despite it saying he's in 9th place. And we're starting to see a few gaps forming now. No real overtaking opportunities. A lot of drivers in the pits actually. 4 drivers that is. And that does include Jack Tyler's teammate, Stiggy, which is probably not what Jack Tyler would have wanted. But he is starting to develop a little bit of a gap to Davey W now, who's got Trap Formula behind him for reference, and is Trap Formula going to try and make the overtake? But of course we're only on lap 2, not lap 3, so no DRS. Again, another broken thing that still has not been fixed, for goodness sake. But at the moment, Rika going for a 2-stop then, it must be, because he's gone onto the medium tyres, and it is a struggle to get them to the end. So to me, that does sound like he is hoping for a safety car, I suppose, because a 2-stop race is not exactly something I would have considered to really work. But now a gap is starting to form for the leaders of this race. Hersey now almost a second, in fact is just dwindling with a second out of Jack Tyler, and Jack Tyler he's narrowly keeping in between, but it's going to be a big struggle now. Sector 1 is a very tricky one for these drivers, and it all is about the pace, but this is going to be an interesting battle behind. Trap Formula is quite close to Davey W. Davey W is relatively close to Jack Tyler, but definitely not in striking distance like this man. Trap Formula looking for another podium after last week's brilliant race for him. Unfortunate not to take the win, and of course, oh, a little bit of a tap there with the rear end. Good save from Davey not to go round, and I guess for Trap Formula not to cause more action. He's fell back a little bit, and Jack Tyler taking a wider line has not really worked, perhaps what he would have hoped, and he's probably had a little bit of an understeery sort of moment. Davey's going to try have a go at him. Doesn't exactly work, but that does open the door for the Ferrari behind. Now this is an interesting one. We've got a bit of a train, and now Davey W actually has an opportunity to strike the move on Jack Tyler. He goes to the inside. Trap Formula is not close enough to make the move. He's not going to follow in suit, but up to second place goes the Williams driver for now, of Davey W, and that is Jack Tyler's race down to 3rd place. So really starting to struggle a bit in the race, and I think that is the same for everyone. 2.8 seconds gap now for Hersey in the lead. Really starting to take a real control in the race when he does get in these positions. F1 Ardende up to 7th place as he's just moved past Steber, and Alpha is actually up to 9th, so he is the highest medium runner at the moment. So he'll be very happy with that, how he stormed up the grid for now at the moment, but we'll stay content at the moment. Let's look at Trap Formula. Trap Formula perhaps looking for a move on Jack Tyler to the inside. Is he going to send it down the inside? There's a lot of space there, so I would have thought he would, and he does. Does it leave enough for him on the outside? Yes, he does. Good racing from both of these, still side by side through turn 3 then, and turn 4, turn 5, and it looks like the Ferrari has got the position done, and Trap Formula up to 3rd place already. Steber getting a penalty, not a very good sign for the Renault driver, not something he would want to have at the moment. But now Track Formula has the clean air for now. He will look to try and close down Davey W up ahead. And looking further behind, James Dovey will be looking interesting. He actually looked a little bit more interesting than perhaps thought on Jack Tyler there. Is he perhaps considering a move here or not? Doesn't look like it. And it looks like all of these are just going to remain in formation for now, unless there is a late send from anyone. Late braking from James Dovey almost means he goes into the back and actually squeezes his teammate there a little bit. Perhaps a little unaware of that, and that doesn't help his teammate in any sort of the question, because that has brought Dende back into this. And Dende is looking just a bit quiet at the back of this train, the championship leader. Not rushing too much, but obviously you don't want to rush and cause yourself into a crash and lose yourself more vulnerable points. It is such a cautious situation for the championship leader down in 7th place when his championship rival only 1 point behind and would perhaps get a significant lead in the championship at the moment. Yep, I think I do agree. I do think he should be promoted perhaps at this point, because look at the lead he's got already. Lap 5 of this United States Grand Prix, and 3.4 seconds is the gap to the lead. James Dovey, though, he's looking quite close to Jack Tyler. Jack Tyler has not exactly had the best race so far. He'll be looking to improve it later on. He's just starting to fall back a little bit, though, the AlphaTauri driver a little bit, but the McLaren drivers fell back a little bit through the S section, but just seems to be much more faster on the straights, it looks like. Perhaps running lower front wing, helping him out with that one. I have no clue, obviously, what these drivers are running. They could be running absolutely anything, to be honest, but Jack Tyler has not really got the DRS because he's out of the 1 second mark. So it's going to be a nice easy move for James Dovey up to 4th position, and Jack Tyler moving back another space. The other McLaren of Lewis looking quite racy as well. Jack Tyler looking quite racy. He retakes the position back to 4th place, but James Dovey on the inside, he's giving him a go. He's going to try it around the outside, try and hold it. Doesn't do that, but he's got another opportunity coming up very, very soon. What this is doing for Jack Tyler is this is just wasting invaluable time to Track Formula ahead and just letting the Ferrari driver get away. James Dovey alternatively just wants to get past and perhaps catch up, because he believes he's got the pace right now to make something happen. But it looks like Jack Tyler has got a reasonable gap away from James Dovey, so no overtake's gonna really be pursued here unless his teammate of James Dovey is going to send it up the inside. Thinks about it, doesn't do it, but now a little bit of a train beginning to form. But Jack Tyler has got a reasonable gap ahead at the moment. Track Formula, though, speaking about him, looking for 2nd place on Davey W, who's had a pretty decent race so far, the Williams driver. But Track Formula, he's looking quite close. Is he close enough for an overtake is the question. It is Denley in the background making an overtake. He's very close to him. Has to make it stick. Does he make it stick? He's pushed him towards the wide. That's fine. They're going side by side through there, so we'll go back to that in a second. But Track Formula should be able to make the move, and that should be a nice easy move in the background. Here's one that probably is a little bit more difficult, really, and this is the move that Dende is going to make. A lot of side by side battles, but Dende makes the move on Lewis. Lewis sticking there, though, and actually this could be a 3-wide battle. Maybe not a 3-wide battle, that was a bit exaggerated, but Stever going down the inside, or at least trying to go down the inside of Lewis, doesn't exactly work, and Lewis remains in 7th place after being overtaken by the championship leader at the moment. But he now has a big sort of thing to play now. If he wants to catch up to the leaders, he needs to get past Jack Tyler soon, and the problem is that they're all in a DRS train from James Dovey, and I tell you what, James Dovey's getting away, so a good first sector will really put Dedney in a good position here at the moment. Oh, he sends it down the inside. That was a bit late. I wasn't expecting that. Perhaps a little bit of a lapse of concentration from the Williams driver. Good reaction to make sure he doesn't hit into Jack Tyler there, but there is the pressure that's starting to ensue perhaps on Dende at the moment, and almost goes straight into the back of Jack Tyler there. Lucky he didn't, but good reaction time there from the Williams driver to make sure that wasn't the case, and hopefully he can recover now. He's still looking relatively close. Is Steba going to make a similar move into this corner? It is possible. But it didn't quite happen there. But now Dende is just going to sit behind, and I think now is the poising opportunity for him to take the position up to 5th place. Jack Tyler thinking about going defensive, doesn't exactly know what to do here, but it looks like the move is going to be made down the inside for Dende. He is on a charge up to 5th place. Jack Tyler comes back though. He's fell back a couple of positions, doesn't want to lose another one. Still side by side through the corners. Is he going to think about sending it down the inside? Dende defends perfectly there to make sure that Jack Tyler has no intentions of taking it down the inside. Brilliant defence from the Williams driver, but Jack Tyler still looking really close. A little bit wide there from Dende, which could be a little bit of a problem. Just trailing him right behind at the moment. And is Jack Tyler going into the pits? Yes, he is. So making an early pit stop, awkwardly into the pits it looked like, but the AlphaTauri driver, who did get pole position, he does enter the pits because he doesn't want to get caught up in traffic. So a rather interesting but mature decision, I suppose, for the AlphaTauri driver. Trap Formula and Davey still continue to fight for their position, and at the moment I would say Davey is in a better position ERS wise. However, these guys are going to pit soon, so really that's all going to go back up again, and I think things are going to become more neutral for now. Anyway, no real battle's going to be going on the track. I don't know where Yigamal's come from. He's up in 8th place though. So somewhere he's got past Aero Specialist. Maybe Aero Specialist has he's left the session because servers and Codemasters. I'm not sure, but I'm surprised to see that because Alpha, he was actually in the best position in the house, and I believe Vonus was behind him. So Gigamal's actually made a pretty decent climb. I tell you who's also probably going to be quite happy, and that's Jack Tyler. He has come out, no traffic. The only difference is he's gone on to the hard tyres instead of the mediums. So he's doing a soft hard strategy, which is something different, I suppose. And that does work. That can work. The soft hard strategy can work around here. It's very hard to really implement it fully, but it does work. So I'm intrigued to see how that ends up, or how that goes. Steba not close enough to attack the driver ahead of him. Perhaps Vonus is the next one looking for a move. No, he's not. He's come towards the end of the straight as well. But now, more than ever, interestingly, for Yigamal, I've not seen him rise up. He's up in 7th place. What an interesting position for the Norwegian driver. Because at the moment he will be absolutely thrilled to see himself up in 7th place on the medium tyres. And he's not that far off the lead either. I know how much you have to make really to do the reverse strategy correctly, but looking at the encouraging signs, it looks like we're looking at a soft hard strategy here. So really this could play in Yigamal's favour, because if it was soft mediums it would be a little bit more difficult since the mediums have more grip. But if they're all going to the soft hard and he's doing medium soft, he's got a really good advantage here to make up some time. Just depends how he uses it and where he's making up time. But yeah, I'm quite surprised to see him where he is at the moment. And I didn't expect him to be in 7th place because I haven't seen him beforehand. Trap Formula, not Trap Formula, Davey W enters the pits then, and Davey W is going to be up against it against Jack Tyler, and I suppose to see who comes out ahead. Has the overcut worked? Has the undercut worked? As Jack Tyler now coming through the final corner, he'll be eager to try and beat that Williams out in front. And looking at that, the Williams has got out well ahead of the AlphaTauri, perhaps suggesting that it's a bit late now for sorry, it was a bit early for Jack Tyler, but nice for Davey W. Davey's on the mediums though, so he should get away from Jack Tyler for the first couple of laps, and with the clean air that he has, I think Davy W is actually probably going to try and make a bit more time up on the leaders, but to be honest with you, Hersey is 6 seconds out in front, and there was not much of a difference between Davy and Trap Formula. I think it's going to be pretty hard to make a 6-second gap in probably 1 or 2 laps, because that is when Hersey will likely come in. And Delta cheering on Alpha. A lot of people cheering on Alpha tonight to get their first points of the season, and you know what, I'm going to join the bandwagon. I think he will tonight get his first points of the season, and I'm sure he can do, he's possible of doing it. Has had just a bit of misfortune this season, DNFing from every race but 3. My eyesight is getting worse, I'm becoming an old man, of course. 18 years of age, I'm a bit too old for this now, aren't I? Anyway, James Dovey and Dende into the pit lane then, and Yigamau now will move up a couple of positions, 3 positions to be exact, and up to 3rd place he goes then, for him, and he'll be looking quite happy with this, you know. He's closing on Hersey and Trap Formula, I think, by a small amount. This gap to the leader situation is going to be quite interesting to see. There's yellow flags in sector 3. I think that is Stiggy who's gone round, and that really confirms it as Rika goes past. And a virtual safety car. Interesting. Because if Hersey and Trap Formula don't get this right, it could both cost them the race. And I say this crucially because if Yigamau gets it perfect and the top 2 don't, Yigamau's going to make up so much time, could make up a second of time, for example, and because of those medium tyres being much better suited, the medium soft strategy being much better suited, I think it could be a rather interesting one. But anyways, we'll just see that time go down. Stiggy's actually retired in the pit lane, so he's had enough today. I'm doing alright, Delta, actually. I'm feeling quite good this evening. I had a bit of a busy evening, of course, like I usually do. At this point, people may put it out as an excuse, but genuinely I am quite busy of a person. But anyway, Hersey then into the pit lane, and following him is Trap Formula, so this is now going to be interesting. We now get to see what Yigamau can do in the lead of this race, and hopefully Yigamau can put in a good show. And checking penalties, I will do that now. Looking at the penalties, Alpha is the highest with 3 seconds of penalties. There are a couple of drivers with 6 seconds, but penalties seem to be quite often at this track, unsurprisingly. And here is your problem then. Yigamau has Hersey behind him, 4 seconds behind him on the medium tyres. So this is going to be a little bit of a chase now for the Haas driver. I think it would have been interesting though for Yigamau. He's going to go on to the soft tyres at the end, and with the less fuel he's going to be much quicker than these guys. Maybe not the victory is possible for Yigamau. I think that was a bit expansive to say a victory is possible. But I think there is a potential chance for a podium here today. He's looking relatively quick. But anyway, Trap Formula N and Davy W, these two have been quite inseparable recently in this race, and I think this is going to be quite a case for a little bit of time, as here comes Trap Formula. He's going to make the move on Davy W. Davy doesn't think about defending. A long race to go, and strategically he's going to just sit in the DRS. Dende making the move on Jack Tyler again, so Jack Tyler did get it on Dende. He did get the undercut working with the Williams driver, which is a positive thing, but the Williams driver is back at him, and Dende on the medium tyres up to 8th place. I'm sure he'll be happy with that for now, as he does note 3 drivers do have the pit, which means that technically he's in a net 5th place, but of course we do have to remember those soft tyres compared to the mediums at this track towards the end are sinister, and they will catch you back quite legitimately. But to be honest with you, Dende will just sit here now, relax, try to close in. Surprisingly, not too much battles going on. Vonis is probably one of the closest ones. Perhaps this battle for 5th place as well is relatively close between Trap Formula and Davy W. But to be honest with you, other than that, no real battles. And I tell you what, Hersey is really finding some sort of pace at the moment. He's 2.8 seconds behind already on Jägerbau. What a turnaround this will be if he actually gets past him soon. It's quite impressive. But Poggle into the pits, and Poggle does set on his way out of the session. I think Mercedes will have a bit of a mare today. I think Mercedes have had a bit of a mare all season, to be honest. Unfortunately, they've been up there at points, but recently it does seem like Mercedes have been a bit, I would say, inconsistent at the moment. Rika picking up some scraps, then Poggle picking up some scraps, and then we just don't know who's going to be picking up some scraps next. Yellow flags in sector 1 is because of Poggle, so no one has retired on track. That exactly explains the reason. But Trap Formula, now we're on to an interesting point here. He's on the back of Vonus. Vonus is on the back of Alpha F1. A 7-second gap between him and Hersey. So Hersey has definitely made worth of his first set of tyres by far. But Trap Formula in 5th place. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him. Definitely on the worst tyres. Is he going to look for a move here to the outside? It's going to be pretty difficult to do so. Luckily, he doesn't have to rush about this. Davey W has fallen back himself quite a bit. He would like to prefer to get past here, and there we go. Round the outside. This would be a pretty good move if he can do it, and he's done it. Nice move from him. And I tell you who's not made a nice move, and who's probably put it in the wall, I think, is Jack Tyler. So really interesting revelations there. Let's go back to that and see how that is, because I don't think we're going to see much moves on the straights. And oh, look at that. This is the problem. He hasn't got wind damage, but he spun the car, and because of that his tyres are melted at this point. His tyres are just not in a good shape, so not good for him. And I was wrong about any sort of move as Trap Formula gets past Alpha F1. Alpha, does he decide to come back? No. But Davey W looking quite desperate now to get by. Is he going to go down the inside? He does. Alpha doesn't defend that, and that's a clean move there from the Williams driver. A little bit of a shake out the exit of the corner, as Alpha still has to try and defend from Vonus behind. But Vonus at the moment is just sitting there, not doing much. But really, I think this is a rather interesting race at the moment. We've got a bit of a battle for the lead up in front between Jägerbau and Hersey. Hersey's already caught up. This driver is incredible. When he's on his day, Hersey is absolutely remarkable of a driver at the moment. He's completely clear of anyone behind him of ever challenging him. 10 seconds clear of Trap Formula is a pure example. But now he's behind Jägerbau. Is Jägerbau going to try and defend this, or is Hersey going to send it down the inside here? He's looking quite promising towards it. Just sits back at the moment, and this is unsurprising. He's just going to sit in the DRS, going to get past here. I'm sure of that one anyway. He's going to close in on Jägerbau either way as he comes towards now turn 12. It's a long run. Jägerbau doesn't defend. He probably doesn't have the right to. They're not on the same strategy, but I wonder if Jägerbau will come back a little bit wide there from Hersey, which does give Jägerbau the opportunity to come back. It does give Jägerbau the opportunity to fight back, and you know what? It does give the opportunity for Jägerbau to retake the lead of this race. So brilliant battling there between the two drivers, and I'm sure Hersey was kind of surprised there that he didn't get the move done. So good battling between these two, but Jägerbau coming into the pits now, so he's going to fit on the soft tyres now, believing they will make it to the end. They will make it to the end. However, how good will they be is the question. He knows he's lost time by battling with Hersey, and it's not probably worth losing more because of that. And I think he will be thinking now potentially of getting himself on the podium towards the end of this race. So Hersey leads now by 9.6 seconds, which is going to be probably the race win now. I think if anyone wins other than him at the moment, it's going to be down to a mistake or something absolutely incredible. Dende struggling at the moment as he gets passed by Vonus, by Steber as well. I think he's just made a mistake somewhere, but look at this, something really is going on here. One of the Renault drivers has gone wild, one of the Renault drivers has actually slowed down. Dende's got back past Vonus. Stefan's basically come to a stop. I don't know what's happened there, but he's not really enjoying his time. So good for Yigamau. He's got past the position already, and he is now on a charge for the leaders of this race. But then they in P6 at the moment. Stevan moving down another position. Yellow flag in sector 2. That's an awkward place to get a yellow flag. Quite of an unusual one. Poggle leaves the session now. What's the yellow flag for? Why is Lewis now going slowly all of a sudden? This is rather unique. A lot of drivers seem to be going a bit slowly at the moment. Stevan's lost an insane amount of time. Has he got wing damage? Yes, he has. I don't know where he's got the wing damage from, but he's got wing damage. That probably explains sector 2 to be a bit awkward. And I mean, Black Phoenix is struggling a little bit through the corners. Perhaps that's just his line though. I just don't know really what to say at the moment. There's been a lot going on down there, but looking forward anyway, Yigamau is closing in, and look at the grip difference. It's so easy to spot. Yigamau has so much more grip than Alpha F1. Looks like the move was made, and I tell you what, that was a really nice camera angle I got there. I've never really seen that one at this track at my time of commentating, and I really like that camera angle. So fair play. But anyway, Yigamau up to 6th place then. He'll be happy with that. He's only got one driver ahead of him in Dende to pass to get a little bit of fresh air and clean air to get away after James Dovey in 4th place. The only disadvantage Yigamau has is that he has a penalty, which isn't the first he's picked up this season. And again, I want to just refer back to how much grip he has on those soft tyres. This is a must move position now for Yigamau. It's going to be a nice and easy one on the straight. It's going to be no real competition at all. I think already Dende just knows that at the moment, you know, there's no point fighting Yigamau at all. At the front, not really too many battles going on. However, I think this battle's a rather interesting one. Alpha versus Aero Specialist. Has Alpha left this too late now? Or has he done this perfectly? Because his medium tyres are gasping for air. They're gasping to go off. And look at Alpha. He looks completely exposed there on the rear through the corners. He's literally on the verge of literally losing those tyres altogether. But into the pits he comes then. Aero Specialist in 8th place is going to the line. And he's going to go right to the end. I think more interestingly, Aero Specialist is just going to try and close him, but I don't think it will be possible. The Racer Point driver is not looking likely to close in. Yigamau has really closed in a number on James Dovey. I'm very intrigued to see how that battle will go down very soon. It should be a nice and easy move, but with James Dovey putting pressure on David W, this could be a three-way fight in some way, because Yigamau does not want to go into the back of anyone and get wind damage. That would be a disaster for him. Because it is a podium really likely to happen at the moment, despite the penalty. Simply because of the soft tyres. The soft tyres are a huge advantage at this track, and James Dovey does send it down the inside of Davey W. Nice and easy right there. And the McLaren driver is looking rather confident right now. I mean, the only problem is he's got a penalty. So nice one, but everyone seems to be getting penalties at this track, and I won't be surprised if we see a few more from a few different drivers. Alpha then does come back out, and he is onto the soft tyres in 11th place. Oh my goodness, how sad would that be? He's not got a point all season, and if he finishes 11th, it's going to be really, really unfortunate for him, because it does seem like he has driven a decent race for now. But anyway, Davey W then looking to close in on James Dovey, but just not able to. And here comes Yigamau, and literally you can see the difference on those soft tyres, at how much more they bring than the medium tyres. And it does suggest to you that perhaps Yigamau is really going to be pressuring perhaps even 2nd place track formula. I seriously doubt anyone will be catching up to Hersey anytime soon. That man is in another world at the moment. Looking at the times there, look at the difference of the times. 32.7 is the fastest lap that Yigamau set compared to the man ahead of him, who's currently doing a 35.2 as his fastest. That's a 3-second difference as Yigamel heads up to 4th place. It's not really a battle worth joining in for Davey W. He knows he's going to be taking on a bit of a difficult one, but at the moment, wow, I think this is a rather interesting one for Yigamel. He's going to be looking potentially onto the podium and potentially for 2nd place. It's going to be very close, but looking at Yigamel, he's going to be closing in on James Dovey. Not enough, obviously, of course, to make an overtake. Although he was looking somewhat interested in it, but makes a bit of a mistake out the exit of the corner, which has lost him a bit of time. Vonis then looking for a move on Dino. Should have been done by now, and it has been done by now. And Dino struggling there with his tyres a little bit, going all over the place at the moment. Lost already over a second of time because of that. And Yigamel right now closing in on James Dovey. He will have to sit behind a little longer though from the McLaren driver, but the grip through here is going to frustrate him a lot as he can make the move across here, but to make the move cleanly here is probably not the best thing to do, so this is going to frustrate him, I reckon, a little bit as he goes over the curb. That is most certainly probably going to be a warning for him, so perhaps don't do that again, don't get yourself a penalty. But Yigamel is closing in on the McLaren ahead of him. The McLaren can see him in his mirrors, and the McLaren is in fact closing on a track formula. This will be a saviour for James Dovey if he gets within the DRS range. He hasn't, and he must be absolutely livid with himself not to do so, because here comes Yigamel. Should be a nice and easy move to the inside and takes 3rd place. So now that is a completely that is probably something that is really going to be a kick in the back for James Dovey, because the DRS there probably would have saved him for but anyway, Track Formula now is going to be the person who's got to try and defend from the ruthless driver of Yigamel, who's actually driven a really stunning race, and I think he's come from nowhere really. He's really driven a good race. I think he's come from P19 on the grid as well to P2, so massive moving up from the FNR driver and the Alfa Romeo driver in that respect. But anyway, let's go into the first corner. Shouldn't be a move here, a bit too far back, but Yigamel is definitely lining up for a move very soon. He has the tyres, he has the time, and he has, of course, likely to have the advantage in a major way. Now coming through Sector 1 and Track Formula as well, is out of the ERS. This happens to him all the time through the weekend, and because of the lack of ERS saving, he's out and he gets compromised towards the end. Which is a little bit of the problem of his game at the moment. But at the moment, Yigamel just setting up, trying to get closer to Track Formula. We are starting to get to a point now where actually the soft tyres aren't as effective as what they would be. They're still better, and I think it's quite clear to notice at the exit of this corner it should be a nice move for, on Track Formula. But are his tyres going to make it to the well, not to the end, but are his tyres going to make it so he can get a 3-second gap, as it is a little bit of a fight back from Track Formula? Fair play, but the problem is that with Track Formula there's no real point going for it, since he will have the tyre advantage for now. The best thing to do for him is just to keep in the DRS for now of Yigamel, and that's very difficult through there because of the dirty air. But anyway, Yigamel up to 2nd place then. Track Formula into 3rd. No battles really going on the track now. A lot of gaps, which has been quite a disappointment, I suppose, at the moment. But I tell you what, I don't think Track Formula is going to give up this easy. I believe he will start to realise that Yigamel's tyres will eventually fall off him. And these tyres don't last forever, these soft tyres, of course. They do wear down the quickest, and at this track they wear down relatively quick. He's already 2/10 down in the first sector. Yigamel is clearing the drivers behind him, but he's got 6 laps to go to make up 2 seconds, and with the tyres worsening much more on the soft tyres, how much can we guarantee that he's going to stay where he is? It's quite a difficult one. And with Track Formula remaining in in the DRS zone, that doesn't help his particular case, does it? But anyway, now through to sector 3. 8/10 gap, no real time lost, which is a surprise to me. I noticed the tyres go off, but I didn't realise they'll go off this early. But for Jägermau, they are starting to go off. The positive thing is for Jägermau, is that he is likely still to get a podium, I think. But the second place, I think, will be very difficult. 1.2 seconds off his fastest time. Let's just look at the fastest laps now. So he definitely set a 1:33.9. So he's obviously should be still quicker than Trap Formula if that's the case. But Trap Formula I don't think is much slower than his fastest time. Compared to Jägermau, which it's 1.2 the last lap, and I reckon that will still continuously go down. In fact, Trap Formula's up on his time, his fastest lap time at the moment. So I think Trap Formula right now is just going to sit there at the moment, and it's just going to be calm and understand what he needs to do, because he's likely to get a podium because he's got no penalties, and at the moment, if he stays where he is, he will get second place. Anyway, back to the action. There's not much going on at the moment, just Trap Formula losing a bit more time now to Jägermau. Perhaps Jägermau is pushing a little bit more now, but no close gaps, which is quite a shame. But looking further back, this driver, Alpha F1, he needs his first points. We've talked about this quite a bit. He needs his first points, and he's on for it. His first points at the moment. Let's just look at the penalties. Oh my goodness. Surely this isn't the way Alpha F1 doesn't get his first points of the season. This will be devastating for Alpha F1, because he has actually driven a really good race today. I think he needs to be credited for his race today. He's done pretty decent, and this is going to be tragic. He's sitting behind on 9 penalties, and the penalties is going to cost him here, which I think he needs to perhaps sort out if that's the case. Anyway, talking about battle, I think Davies probably made a little bit of a mistake here, so his teammate Dende is going to move up to 5th place, and whether this is strategic for the Williams boys to try and just get Dende that tad bit closer to Hersey to make sure that Dende isn't affected too much in the drivers. I think that possibly what's happened, because in the constructors I think they'll still be enjoying it. Hersey's leading shock horror, his teammate again, Hugo Walsh, bizarrely isn't here, so I think that either has to be changed, or I'm just reading the constructors. He's still in the Haas, but he's not been here again. So that's the 3rd week now in a row, which usually for PSGL standards that means that he's probably out. So I'm very intrigued to see what happens to him then. But anyway, Hersey's leading now by 12 seconds. As Jägermau has closed the gap to him, but at the moment, nothing much more than that. James Dovey is 1.6 behind Trap Formula, probably just going to make it to the line. And here's an opportunity for Dende. 6 seconds for James Dovey now with penalties. Dende has no penalties. He could be on for 4th place here, so I think he'll be quite happy with that. It's getting to the tight end of the season now as well, so for Dende, that position will mean quite a lot for him. No matter what happens, that position will mean quite a lot for the Williams driver. I'm sure he will cherish an extra position all he can today, because it's been a little bit, it's been a good performance in Dende, but I'm sure he would have wanted a little bit more, of course, out of qualifying, because obviously he had a spin on the final corner which lost him 5/10, remember, so he would have been right in the mix of the leaders. But yeah, Lewis down in 8th place. He'll be hustled by Vonis, I reckon, soon, as these two get close to each other. And poor Alpha again, it's looking like, unfortunately, he's not going to get points, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, Vonis has actually fell back a little bit for Lewis, so I think it is now the point of where the tyres are starting to change. The softs are starting to go off a lot more now compared to the medium tyres and the hard tyres as well. The hard tyres do have a lot of resilience. They stay on for a long time. And well, Lewis, he's not going to be making any positions up, so he's really only got one position to really fight for, and that is between him and Vonis. Vonis, I think, is happy just to sit behind and stay the similar distance, probably simply because Lewis has penalties and Vonis does not. So it's a similar situation to Dende, and I think the tyre data is rather irrelevant now at this stage. So we're going to swap over to penalties. So we need to have a look at potential changes of position. This is one of them. And what would have been one of them, Vonis could still be area specialist to the line. He needs to get past Lewis though, if he wants to do that. And I think this is where it will be an interesting one. Black Phoenix is closed in on Alpha as well, so Black Phoenix could just take the position in general. But anyway, Dende getting Dende getting a 3-second penalty. That's massive, because obviously that means that he will not be getting 4th place, which is massive because he will only get he'll only get 6 points in the end, and because he only gets 6 points compared to Hersey's 16. That's a 9. That is a 9-point gap then in the championship between him and Hersey. And once again, it's fair to say Hersey, once again, he has absolutely dominated today, which is basically the whole train of thought of his wins this season. Whenever he's won, he has seemed to dominate. So I'm rather interested to see how he does towards the end of the season. As we have a drive around, that's Yigamau. Yigamau is round and he's in the wall. I don't know what's happened to him there. He's on the grass, so he saved the car, but I think he's just lost it on the exit there. He'll be absolutely kicking himself. Fortunately, he's probably not going to lose another position. I've actually underestimated that a little bit. He may actually be in a little bit of trouble of the aero specialist behind, and really is in trouble with the tyres there. The tyres are really starting to go off. This probably isn't the best tyre to have that either. And he's had the spin, and yeah, his tyres are just so hot right now. And now he's lost another position. Down to 7th he goes, and that's for position as well. So unfortunately for Yigamau, he's going to try return it. And I've got that mixed up there because Aero Specialist is 9 seconds, so he's going to fall back anyway. But I think Yigamau will be quite annoyed, and I tell you who'll possibly be more annoyed if he cannot make the gap up is Dende. He's got 6/10 to make up. He's got to really push this one now. He could still get a podium. He's had a podium pretty much every race this season. The only race this season Dende's not had a podium was Monaco. So it's a rather good record for the Williams driver this season, and well, it's looking unlikely he's going to do it. He's got to gain 6/10. He's got to really Lando Norris it. But anyway, speaking of someone that is pretty quick this season, it is Hersey, and Hersey is going to come across the final corner, and similar to most of his race victories, he's never looked back, and he takes the United States Grand Prix quite convincingly by 14 seconds. Trap Formula again keeping it nice and clean today as well, which is good to see, as he comes across the line, and I think he's going to be chuffed with that. P2 for Track Formula, and James Dovey is going to make it to the line. He is going to take third place, and for the first time in quite a while, Dende will not get his podium, and that is pressure to the limit, really, if you think about it. But Davey W into 5th place, a good day for Williams, 4th and 5th place. They'll be happy with that. Aero Specialist in 6th for now. He moves down to 7th. Will he move down to 8th? I don't believe he will. He will move down to 8th, just about. He actually moves down to 9th as Vonis goes 7th place. A good day for Vonis then in the end. And Alpha F1, he doesn't get the point. That is so sad. And unfortunate for the Ferrari driver. He gets pipped to the line by Black Phoenix because of penalties, and Dino goes 12th, and the final driver, who's really been on his own all day, is Rika. And Rika is the last driver to finish, and he's still got a little while to go to finish. But I mean, well done today to Hersey. He takes the victory quite convincingly again, and Track Formula in 2nd, and James Dovey in 3rd place again. So another good podium for James Dovey. He's actually been consistently getting on there as of recent, particularly for 3rd places. That's 3 3rd places in 4 races, and that is the 4th podium of potential 6 podiums on races that he has finished. So I'm pretty sure he'll be happy with that, as the gap closes though. Despite the good form, the gap does close between him and Track Formula, who finishes 2nd place today. But the man of the hour, the guy who's won again by around 15 seconds, just under that, and well, I think again it's another dominant result for Dende. But we do have 2nd place in the podium interviews, and we will get to that in a second. But here are the race results officially. Hersey winning the race today here in the United States. A dominant victory as ever for the Estonian driver. Track Formula into 2nd place. A good race for him today. James Dovey finishing off the podium. He'll be happy with that result. Dende missing out on the podium for the first time since Monaco, finishing in 4th place. Davey W in 5th, Yigamal going down to 6th after that spin off the exit of turn 15, I believe. But anyway, Vonis in 7th, Lewis in 8th, Aero Specialist getting a 9th place, and Black Phoenix finishing inside the top 10, and that is the rest of the drivers, 11th down to 19th. And not a good day for Mercedes as they finish 13th and 18th, and also for AlphaTauri, both DNFs. Anyway, so we have 2 drivers with us this evening for the podium interviews. We have 2nd place and 3rd place for the interviews. But first of all, we're going to go to the man who finished in 2nd place tonight. And I think the form is starting to really become a thing, isn't it? Track Formula, because you've got your 2nd podium in a row, second place in a row, and your 3rd podium at the season. So you'd be enjoying that one, wouldn't you?
To be honest, I just try my best every week. There's been some weeks where it hasn't really gone to plan, but today, yeah, I'm happy. Obviously, that so I don't really like this track. I mean, it's all right, but it's hard to stay in the track limit. So yeah, I think I've done well for myself here and collect some points for Ferrari.
And of course, now I believe you close on James, who is also here. You've closed the gap between him and you in the championship. Are you going for that 3rd place now? Are you looking to take that bronze medal come the end of the season with 3 rounds to go?
Well, my mindset is I just want to take as many points as I can. That's what I really want to just get. Maybe I want to get a race win, obviously, this season. I think I deserve it, but yeah, a 3rd place in the championship would be good after what's happened at the start of the season. So yeah, I'll take that.
Well, a brilliant result for you. Next 3 tracks as we get on to the final quarter of the season. Mexico is the next track. Is it a track that you enjoy, or is it a track that perhaps you're not a big fan of?
I like it. I actually like it a lot. Some nice corners, obviously. I like the little chicane. That's a nice corner to throw around. You can go flat there, so yeah. I like the track. It's probably in my top 5 tracks, so yeah, I'm excited for it. Hopefully I can get a win. That'd be good.
Yeah, you most definitely deserve it. You've been getting closer week upon week, and of course, Singapore last week was very harsh that you didn't get the victory. But again, another top performance from Track Formula, finishing second place for the second week in a row. Now we go to James Dovey, who seems to be coming here quite oftenly at this point. It's the 4th time he enters the comments box for interviews, and he will return tonight. How was the race from your point of view?
It wasn't too bad. Stuffs I didn't like at all. I hated them from the start. I couldn't keep up with that lead group of Trap. Davey was in it. I couldn't get anywhere near him, but my mediums felt good towards the end. They died, but weren't too bad. Bit annoyed with that last penalty. But...
Oh yeah, but you got the podium either way, which I think you were very chuffed about, and obviously it looked like Dende was closing, and then obviously he got the penalty. What was your? Did you have a reaction when he got that penalty? Was there any sort of confidence boost that you got from that, or did you just get your head down and just focus, and wherever you finish is wherever you finish at the end?
Yeah, the last one really. When I knew he didn't have a penalty and I got the 6, I thought, just take it home, take the 4th, and then I seen him get the penalty, and it was the same reaction. I keep driving, I've got 3rd, so it doesn't really matter. Just keep going with what I'm doing. I think the gap was about 4 seconds. I think.
Yeah,
hovering around that.
Another thing I'd like to talk about is, well, really for both of you, is about Yigamau. I mean, were you expecting the spin? Really, and I'm going to start with Trap here because I'm going to just head back to him quickly. And but were you expecting the spin from Yigamau, or was it kind of a surprise for you?
I mean, not really, but also because Doss were dying. I mean, I probably would have got the P2 anyway. I was keeping in a few attempts, so I think I would have got it. But yeah, it's unfortunate for him. Obviously, it's going to be a good result for him. I think he would have got P2 or P3. So yeah, I reckon he's a bit upset right now, but it's part of racing.
And James, any sort of extra thing to comment on it, or?
No, well, I did kind of the same as Trap really. I just let him go. There's no point fighting him. I was fighting the guys behind, but in the back of my mind, he pitted really early. I thought the softs. I think did he have 12 laps to go? Or 13
yeah.
laps. It was a
13.
long distance, and I can get mine to 11, and they are like ready to blow. And so I was thinking maybe come back in the last lap. He might get a puncture or something, because I know he does. I've raced him quite a bit, and he does like to pit really early when he's on the alternative. But I've seen him get a few punctures, so that's all I was thinking.
And final question for James. It's the same one I asked Trap a minute ago. Mexico, is it a track you enjoy, or is it a track that you hate? No, it's a track that you hate. No. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I hate it.
What's the hate?
So
what's the hate for the circuit?
I just can't drive it. That's the problem. I just can't go around it. But I never used to like USA, and I kind of like it now. So I think with a bit of practice, if I can find time.
I was about to ask, have you done any practice for Mexico or anything on this game, or have you experienced it on this game?
No, I don't think so. I think I might have drove around it, made a setup in July, but
I mean, I guess
about it since.
I guess the only advice I can give to both of you for next week is don't get disqualified, because the penalties are ridiculous at that track.
I won't get a penalty, don't worry.
That's
Yeah.
quite confident for
Obviously
Mexico.
me, I will. I will.
Well,
So
you've got to be confident, in my opinion.
I'll definitely get one, guaranteed.
Well, anyway,
Yeah,
there's no.
I don't think I'll get one.
Okay. Well, there's no more questions from me, so we're gonna get through with this evening, and we've had a pretty decent race here tonight. A pretty underwhelming second half to the race. Not too much battles going on, but it is what it is. Hersey was the race winner tonight. I was joined by second place and third place Trap Formula and James Dovey. So congratulations to them this evening on their podium. And next week we do return to North America for the Mexican Grand Prix in Mexico City, and I think we're going to enjoy it next week. It's going to be a race definitely not to miss. So from the commentator, me tonight, and of course the two guys who joined me in the podium for the podium interviews, good night, and we'll see you next week for Mexico.